A new federal study shows that teenagers are staying away from cigarettes and cutting back on prescription drugs. But according to this study, there's a new vice growing in popularity. At the National Institute on Drug Abuse, Deputy Director Wilson Compton says the annual survey of high school students finds a small decrease in cigarette smoking and abuse of prescription drugs. Meanwhile, marijuana use is unchanged. And even while 32 states now say it is legal to smoke medicinal marijuana, we're not seeing the number of marijuana users grow across the nation. Only 6% of 12th graders say they smoke weed every day. Dr. Compton says e-cigarettes are the new rage. More than 16% of teens use them on a regular basis, believing that they are safe and not harmful. The federal drug officials insist that that is not true. Just earlier this week, we learned the Department of Justice announced that they will no longer arrest or prosecute anyone who grows, smokes, or sells marijuana in any one of the 32 states that allow medicinal marijuana. They are leaving the enforcement of those regulations up to the state and local police.
A positive outcome between U.S. and Iranian diplomats this week after a two-day meeting in Geneva. Iran officials say this week that talks within the U.S. were proceeding in a good direction. After a 12-year dispute over Iran's nuclear endeavors, the two countries are on a path to sort things out. Iran's deputy foreign minister said solutions exist in some cases. In others, there is need for more effort and discussions. Although talks were positive, Iran officials say they are still far from a solution. New rules in China could land citizens in big legal trouble for singing the national anthem. The government has proposed a new series of rules and regulations for where the national anthem is allowed to be heard. The Chinese government deems funerals, dance parties, commercial events unacceptable areas to play the anthem. In fact, the government would allow the national anthem anywhere they consider an inappropriate atmosphere. The anthem is not only set to be regulated by where you can sing it, but also how you sing it. Stopping mid-song, whispering, altering any arrangement of notes or lyrics, all are considered forbidden. There is yet to be any ruling on how violators will be punished. Let's just say Chinese vocal instructors will have their hands full. Legal action may be taken after a Korean Air executive went a bit nuts on a flight. Heather Cho is the daughter to Korean Air's CEO. She delayed a flight for 11 minutes, demanding the lead flight attendant be removed, causing the plane to return to its gate. Witnesses say Cho was using violent language in a loud voice during a flight. Cho was upset that she was served macadamia nuts in a bag and not on a plate. Now Cho is facing charges due to the aviation safety law, which says passengers must cooperate on a flight. Due to lack of command from the captain on board, the airline may also face disciplinary action.
It's turning out to be one of the biggest stories of the year. The recent CIA torture report is throwing American interrogation tactics into the global spotlight. But now, once some of the dust is starting to settle, we're learning how top military leaders could actually walk away from all of this with even more of a resolve, convinced that torture was the right approach. For years, we heard stories about waterboarding, torture, sexual abuse, and all kinds of human rights violations happening in Guantanamo Bay. And now that the details are out in the open, CIA directors and even former Vice President Dick Cheney insist that they did nothing wrong and that they would do it all over again. Plus, with President Obama and Attorney General Eric Holder announcing that they will not be pursuing any charges against any CIA operatives or government contractors, there's a growing sense of concern that U.S. officials won't feel any sense of retribution or take any responsibility for their actions. After World War II, the United States prosecuted Japanese military officials as criminals of war. Then the White House turned around and approved those very same torture tactics for CIA use after 9/11. Insurance customers who signed up under healthcare.gov are getting a bit more time to pay their January premiums. The government health care plan is experiencing more troubles, so they are pushing back their own deadlines to make room for their own errors. 2015 is the first insurance renewal year under the Affordable Care Act, and even though the White House says the national insurance website is working better this year overall, many customers are experiencing long delays and glitches in the website. Healthcare.gov officials are blaming the delays on huge data transfer, and that takes time. There are also some behind-the-scenes tech problems, making renewals more difficult. An industry trade group says the grace period is meant to head off any potential problems while companies sort out new and existing applications. Just last week, the White House confirmed that Obamacare premiums will start going up in 2015. Well, Uncle Sam is looking for more young people. The Office of Personnel Management, which oversees employee issues for the federal government, is now making a push to hire more millennials, those born in the late 80s to early 90s. They say the bureaucracy is just getting old. Indeed, the share of federal workforce under the age of 30 fell to just 7% this year, the lowest level in almost a decade. That, despite a drive by then presidential candidate Barack Obama to encourage more young people to work for the government. An official says that millennials have been turned off by gridlock and government shutdowns. It's just not as cool to work for the government. And there's also more competition than ever for young talent coming from the private sector.